Let's start with aloe vera. And if you think this is just a sunburn plant, you have been seriously undersold on one of the most powerful survival plants ever discovered. Aloe vera has been grown in homes for over 6,000 years. The ancient Egyptians called it the plant of immortality and used it on everything from wounds to digestive problems. Your grandmother probably had one sitting on her kitchen windowsill not for decoration, but because it was her first aid kit. Here is what most people do not know. The clear gel inside an aloe leaf contains over 75 active compounds including vitamins, minerals, enzymes, and amino acids. A study published in the Journal of Environmental Science found that aloe vera also releases oxygen at night, making it one of the few plants that actively improves your bedroom air quality while you sleep. You can find an aloe vera plant at any Home Depot, Walmart, or local nursery for $2 to $5. Cut a leaf, split it open, and the gel inside treats burns, cuts, skin irritation, and even digestive discomfort. This is not a decorative plant. This is a living pharmacy sitting on your windowsill, asking for nothing but a little sunlight and water every 2 weeks. Your grandparents did not buy first aid cream at a drugstore. They grew it. There was a time when nobody went to a garden center. Nobody bought fertilizer in a bag. Nobody followed a complicated care routine from a YouTube tutorial. Our grandparents just grew plants. Plants that kept families alive during the hardest times in history. Plants that sat on windowsills during the Great Depression, in backyard gardens during World War II, and in small pots on apartment balconies when money was tight and grocery stores were empty. And here is the part that should make you angry. Most of that knowledge has been quietly replaced by an industry that makes billions of dollars selling you things you do not need. Today, we are bringing it back. Every plant on this list was grown by the generation before us for a specific reason: medicine, food, or survival. And every single one of them is still available right now at your local nursery or grocery store for just a few dollars. Stay with me because number 6 on this list was used by field medics in World War II for something most people would never guess. And number 9 is something your grandmother probably had in her kitchen right now without even realizing what it was actually doing for her family. Next is peppermint. And this one has a history that most people have completely forgotten. During World War I, peppermint was grown in home gardens across America and Europe specifically because commercial medicine was scarce and expensive. It was used for headaches, stomach problems, respiratory infections, and even to repel insects from food storage areas. The mainstream wellness industry would rather sell you a $40 supplement than tell you that a $2 peppermint plant from your local nursery does the same job. Research from the University of Maryland Medical Center confirmed that peppermint oil significantly reduces tension headaches when applied to the forehead more effectively than acetaminophen in some trials. You can grow peppermint in a simple pot on your kitchen counter for under $3. It spreads aggressively, so keep it contained, but that same aggressive growth means you will never run out. Fresh leaves in hot water make a tea that settles nausea, clears sinuses, and reduces headache pain within minutes. Your grandmother did not reach for a pill bottle every time her head hurt. She walked to her kitchen garden. Third is lavender, and here's where the story gets interesting. During World War II, when medical supplies ran low, field nurses used lavender oil as an antiseptic and a mild anesthetic on wounds. They did not have a choice, it was what was available. And it worked. Studies from the University of Southampton found that people who slept in rooms with lavender present fell asleep faster, slept more deeply, and woke up feeling more rested than those without it. Lavender is available at virtually every garden center and Home Depot in America for $3 to $8. Grow it in a sunny window, dry the flowers, and place them in small sachets in your bedroom, your closet, or your pantry. It keeps moths away from clothing, promotes sleep, reduces anxiety, and has measurable antiseptic properties. The sleep aid industry makes billions of dollars every year selling you pills and gadgets. Your great-grandmother just put a bundle of lavender under her pillow. Those first 3 plants alone, aloe vera, peppermint, and lavender, cover first aid, pain relief, and sleep. All 3 together cost under $15 at any garden center near you. If this is new information for you, hit subscribe because every plant coming up goes even deeper than these. Now let us talk about chamomile. And this one has a story that most people have never heard. During the Great Depression, when families across America had almost nothing, chamomile was one of the most commonly grown plants in backyard gardens, not because it was pretty, but because it was medicine. A single chamomile plant produces enough flowers to make tea every single day for months. Research published in the journal Phytomedicine found that chamomile contains apigenin, a compound that binds to the same receptors in your brain as anti-anxiety medications naturally, with no side effects, and for the cost of a $2 plant. You can find chamomile seeds or starter plants at any nursery or online for almost nothing. Grow it in a small pot, harvest the flowers when they bloom, dry them, and you have a natural anxiety reliever, sleep aid, and anti-inflammatory tea on demand. The pharmaceutical industry charges hundreds of dollars a month for anxiety medication. Your grandmother charged nothing. She just went outside and picked flowers. Next is rosemary. And this plant has a reputation that goes far beyond cooking. In ancient Greece, students wore rosemary garlands on their heads during exams because they believed it improved memory and concentration. That sounds like folklore until you read the science. A study from Northumbria University found that simply being in a room where rosemary essential oil was diffused improved memory performance by up to 75%, compared to rooms with no scent. The active compound responsible is called 1-nasol-8-cineol, and it directly increases the activity of neurotransmitters that support memory and focus. You can find rosemary plants at virtually any grocery store or garden center for $2 to $4. Grow it in a sunny kitchen window, use the leaves in cooking, and let the natural oils release into your air. It is a memory booster, an antimicrobial, and one of the most useful culinary herbs you can grow all in one plant that asks for almost nothing. Your grandparents did not take focus supplements. They cooked with rosemary every single day. Sixth is yarrow. And this is the one that most people have never heard of, but field medics in both World War I and World War II carried it specifically for one purpose. Yarrow stops bleeding. The plant contains a compound called achillitin that causes blood to clot faster when applied directly to a wound. That is not folk medicine. That is battlefield medicine. The plant is literally named after Achilles, the Greek warrior who reportedly used it to treat his soldiers' wounds in battle. Research confirms that yarrow has measurable hemostatic properties, meaning it physically accelerates the clotting process. You can find yarrow plants at most nurseries and online for $3 to $6. It grows easily in almost any condition, requires almost no care, and produces clusters of small white or yellow flowers that can be dried and stored for years. Most people walk past yarrow at the garden center without a second look. Field medics in 1917 would have recognized it immediately. 6 plants in, and every single one of them was grown by the generation before us for a reason that had nothing to do with decoration. Comment below which one of these did your grandparents actually grow. I want to know how much of this knowledge is still alive in your family. Now let us talk about elderberry. And this one has a history that goes back centuries, but became critically important during the 1918 Spanish flu, one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. Communities in parts of Europe that regularly consumed elderberry syrup reported significantly lower infection rates. At the time, nobody understood why. Today we do. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that elderberry extract reduced the duration of influenza by an average of 4 days compared to a placebo. The active compounds called anthocyanins directly inhibit the ability of flu viruses to replicate inside your cells. Elderberry bushes are available at most nurseries for $8 to $15 and produce fruit every year for decades. Your one-time investment gives you an annual supply of one of the most well-researched natural immune supports available. The supplement industry sells elderberry syrup for $20 to $40 a bottle. Your great-grandmother made her own every autumn from the bush in her backyard. Next is echinacea, and here is something the mainstream wellness industry does not want you to think too hard about. Echinacea was the most widely used medicinal plant in North America before the invention of antibiotics. Native American communities used it for everything from infections to snake bites. European settlers learned about it and brought it back home. By the early 1900s, it was the best-selling herbal medicine in America. Then antibiotics were invented, and the entire pharmaceutical industry pivoted away from plants and towards synthetic drugs because you cannot patent a flower. A meta-analysis published in the Lancet Infectious Diseases journal found that echinacea reduced the chance of catching a common cold by 58% and reduced the duration of a cold by 1.5 days. You can find echinacea plants at most garden centers and nurseries for $3 to $6. It grows easily, comes back every year, and produces beautiful purple flowers that contain the active compounds your immune system can actually use. Your grandparents did not take cold medicine from a pharmacy. They grew their immune system support in the garden. After item 8, and we are almost at the end of this list, if you have made it this far and you are thinking about actually growing some of these, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week we post videos that will save you money, cut your dependence on industries that profit from your confusion, and give you back knowledge that your family used to have. Second to last is sage. And this one carries a history that most people have completely forgotten. Before refrigeration existed, sage was used to preserve meat. Its natural antimicrobial compounds slow the growth of bacteria so effectively that European families would pack fresh meat in sage leaves to extend its shelf life by days. Research from the University of Belgrade confirmed that sage extract has measurable antibacterial activity against some of the most common foodborne pathogens, including E. coli and Salmonella. Beyond food preservation, sage tea was used for generations as a treatment for sore throats, hot flashes, and excessive sweating. You can find sage plants at virtually every grocery store with a herb section and every garden center in America for $2 to $4. Grow it in a sunny window, use it in cooking, and brew the leaves into tea when you feel a sore throat coming on. It is a food preservative, an antimicrobial, and a natural remedy all in one plant that has been sitting in kitchen gardens for centuries. And the last plant on this list is lemon balm. And this is the one that your grandmother almost certainly had, possibly without even knowing its full history. Lemon balm has been grown in European home gardens for over 2,000 years. Medieval monks cultivated it specifically for its calming properties and used it to treat anxiety, insomnia, and digestive problems in their communities. A study published in Psychosomatic Medicine found that lemon balm significantly reduced stress and improved mood within just 1 hour of consumption. It works by increasing levels of GABA in the brain, the same neurotransmitter that prescription anti-anxiety medications target, but naturally and without dependency. You can find lemon balm at most nurseries and garden centers for $2 to $4. It grows aggressively, smells incredible, and a handful of fresh leaves steeped in hot water for 10 minutes produces a tea that measurably reduces anxiety and promotes sleep. Your grandmother was not just making tea. She was doing neuroscience in her kitchen without knowing it. 10 plants. 10 reasons why the generation before us was healthier, calmer, and more self-sufficient than most of us are today. Not because life was easier, but because they knew something we forgot. If you are starting from scratch, begin with aloe vera and peppermint $2 each, and they cover more health situations than most medicine cabinets. If anxiety and sleep are your biggest issues, chamomile and lemon balm together cost less than a single bottle of supplements. And if you want the one plant that genuinely surprises every person who learns about it, yarrow. Look it up after this video. One question before you go: which of these plants did someone in your family actually grow when you were young? And which one are you planting first? Put both answers in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to know which of these 10 plants has the most clinical research behind it, the answer might genuinely surprise you. That video is next.